Lewis, I told you. You got to knock off the milk products before the show.
There's a video going around of a darts tournament where there's this guy. It looks like he rips one after he wins this game, and he's this like famously kind of prickly guy, and he goes on. He goes, "There's a video going around about me to saying that when I that I sharded, and in fact that was the Velcro in my new trainers." What? That was. I mean, just ignore it, dude.
Yeah, dude. If you
did not make it better.
Let me hit the button. Boom! If you do something on television and it sounds like you ripped one, you just need to let that go. The more you defend yourself, the more it looks like you're absolutely guilty. You gotta just let that go and just pray that people forget about it. Don't pull a Swallows well and go on every news outlet and be like, it was a shoe lift. That's all it was. No one's gonna believe you. All right, we're live. Oh my goodness, look at this chat. We got Anth Towers. We got Jeff Crumpley. He's got to be British. The last name like Crumpley. Got to be British. We got Greg here. We got Level Remix. Dan DeWitt's here. Let's see here. They're making bets on how much time we have before I got to be walking these sweet buns out of here. Well, you know what? Let's see. Who got closest? I got to be walking these sweet buns out of here in 75 minutes. So I think you all lose. Who was the closest, though? I'm going on another vacation, guys. I just got back, and I'm going on my final one. But we got time. We got plenty of time. I take no pleasure in having to rush out the door. I try not to. But I'm going to Lake Chelan. If anyone's going to be in Lake Chelan and you see me walking around, just don't even say anything to me. Just come up and try to give me a big hug. We'll see how that works out.
What?
Lake Chelan. It's one of the deepest lakes in the United States, Lewis.
Never even heard of it. How do you spell it?
Chelan.
Lake house vacation, you say?
I guess it is somewhat of a lake house vacation, although there's not a house on the lake, so
I see.
I don't know what we're staying on. Well, actually, you know what?
Lakeside resort or what?
We're just renting an Airbnb. It might be lakeside. I don't know because I didn't book it. But before we go, we have all sorts of stories to talk about. Oh my goodness. Let's see here. Oh, we got Hugo Last in the chat already with the last effect. I'm going to call you out in the show. I'm not even going to read that comment. I'm not even going to read it. I'm going to just wait. But I know every time Leander Kinney sees Hugo Last is here, he gets excited because it means he gets a little bit richer. I mean, he has enough.
Oh my God.
That chapter in the published version as the Hugo Last honorary segment.
CultCast 666.
Oh no! Oh,
the CultCast of the Beast.
That one. This is the show that initiates the end of times. Once this ends, that's it. We're in it.
Boy, I hope not.
Now there will be nothing left of me. Only my clothes will be here, but you guys will definitely be here. So you can continue the show without me.
Oh dear heavens.
for the next few weeks. Can I get a CultCast 666 from you, Lewis?
I can't.
Oh, come on,
not.
Lewis, you got to do it. Give me that famous Lewis rock howl.
Oh, come on.
I got to hear it, Lewis. Let's hear it.
I can't even.
You failed me.
Sorry, man.
And not even for the first time. It's happened many times.
All I can hear is Bruce Dickinson in my head.
I don't even know who that is.
What?
Yeah, Bruce Dickinson.
It sounds like you should
Iron
go to a
Maiden? Iron Maiden singer?
Oh. Yeah, I still don't know. Let's go ahead and get this thing rolling, shall we? No,
oh, my God.
I don't know the names of all these old-timey rock singers.
You've never heard the song, the old-timey. You never heard The Number of the Beast? Song by Iron Maiden?
I mean, maybe I have, but I couldn't tell you the name of it or what it sounds like.
Well, it's probably not playing on, Dad Rock Top 40.
Dad Rock Radio?
To on your Sirius XM, on your car,
Dad Rock Radio?
In your Subaru.
Yeah. Oh, man. No, I'm too, in my Subaru, I'm too busy listening for engine noises that shouldn't be there.
Oh.
Great. Did I make a huge mistake buying this car? I feel like I did. All right. Tomas is here. That means we can finally start. Should we go ahead and get this thing rolling? We got so much stuff to do. I feel like I'm absolutely missing something horrendously. It's going to backfire on me once we go We're already
You need to
live,
tweet the
but
tweet.
oh, the tweet action. Lewis, you've lost your touch.
Well, Griffin's just on it today.
Yep.
Also, I was looking at Lake Chelan.
Lake
Chelan?
Chelan.
How do you pronounce it? Chelan?
Chelan. Lake Chelan.
Chelan?
Yeah.
Never heard of such a thing.
Tomas says in the chat he's missing LK. Me too. We all miss him. But the good news is you can always get some flowers and go see him at his gravesite, right, Lewis?
Oh, my God.
Is he still alive?
Well, I guess you can't slander the dead, but you can slander the alive. Yes, he's alive.
Are you sure?
Of course. Yes, of
You
course.
said the newsletter was late today. Maybe that's why.
Well, that is true.
Leander is late as well.
We're going to
my
miss him.
God.
We're going to miss him.
Lake
All right.
Chelan is an over-deepened lake and resembles a fjord.
Oh, I didn't know that last part.
I've never heard the term over-deepened.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. Does that mean it's man-made? Like they deepened it for some reason?
I don't know, man.
It's super deep, though. I mean, and the thing is it's so deep that all the water that goes into it is just always perpetually cold. Even in the summertime, it's cold. So we go to the lake, but like no one wants to get in the water because the water is like Arctic freeze water. You know?
So
I
you
guess
sit
that makes
there
it
and
an
shiver
over-deepened lake.
beside the lake?
Yeah. Well, the house we rented has a pool. So we're going to a place with a lake that we're not going to go in so we can be in the pool. Hey, look, I didn't plan the vacation. I just pay for it. Let's go.
Justify this.
Yeah, right. All right. I don't know why our concurrent viewers is going up because we've talked about nothing of substance.
I thought
But
for sure you're going to say the opposite.
yeah, well, I probably should be saying the opposite. Just give it a few more minutes. All right. I think we should go ahead and get this thing rolling. Should we cue up Mrs. D? Oh, Mrs. D. Oh, Mrs. D. Oh, Mrs. D, I'm going on vacation this week. Oh, I am too. I'm going on a nude retreat with Al Caney. What does that even mean, Lewis? I don't know. There's room for one more. Let's hear that. There's space for another.
California naturists reserve.
Oh yeah, I bet it's something that Gavin Newsom does regularly. He's probably gonna be there. A nude retreat.
Gavi.
All right, Mrs. D. No one wants to hear about your retreat with LK or what things happened there. There's probably an effigy that's burned towards the end of the trip. We just want to talk about the Apple News this week. So if you don't mind, I'll get this thing queued up. I can continue in that joke, but I won't. In 3, 2. Hello, and welcome to the CultCast, the best 30 plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. I'm your host, Airphone Elijah. Join me today. The new hearing aid feature coming to AirPods Pro is only going to enhance his ability to capture escaping Cultimac riders, now allowing him to hear every footstep and whisper from even several rooms away. They'll never be able to get out. He's the managing editor of CultCast. Lewis Wallace is here.
So many innovations planned.
Also with us, he loves his new iPhone 16 Pro, but he can't help but miss the stylus, which came with his previous communication device, the Newton message pad. Writer for Cultimac, Griffin Jones is here.
It's actually closer to the truth than you might imagine. Before I got my iPhone 4, I genuinely was carrying around a Newton Message Pad 2000.
Oh my God.
Carrying it what? Pocket? Backpack?
It's too big to fit in a pocket. I had to.
Oh, not
I
if you
had
have
to
the
find
right
Yeah, a
pockets.
fanny pack.
You know what? I wore a fanny pack. Well, it was like a hip pack on my trip to
Oh, yeah.
Disneyland.
I know you're a defender of the fanny pack.
A utility belt.
It does come like on a utility belt because a fanny pack, the strap is fixed, so you can't really move it that well. But this thing has a strap, and then the hip pack goes around it. And I caught myself a couple times in a mirror. And you know what I thought, Lewis? Hey, this guy's looking
Who
pretty.
is that dork?
This guy's looking pretty cool. It was actually kind of
Did
a
you
cool
say,
look.
oh my God, is it Batman?
I looked just like Batman, and then I let out a powerful dad sneeze, scared all the children within a 25-foot radius, and I thought, wow, I've made it. This is the man I was always meant to be. All right, everyone. We got a ton of stuff to talk about this week. We'll be talking about our hands-on experiences with our iPhones 16s Pros. I got mine right here. Look at that beauty, Lewis. Look at that beauty. Hey, do you notice something, Lewis? Notice anything?
Case free.
Case free. Case free, baby. Now, I did
I'm
order a
also noticing
case.
that the screen isn't protruding a little bit.
Yeah, right. It's not like slightly sticking out
Appears to
from
be-
like the frame.
quote unquote waterproof.
Yeah, this one actually is waterproof. Oh, man. So we'll talk about this. I moved from the Max back to the regular Pro. I got to say, I like this color. I got the black one. What are we calling this? Desert gray? Desert space?
Desert
Black
storm.
titanium.
Black titanium. And,
How do you feel about the black? Because last week you said that you were concerned that it was going to be too black.
It's growing on me. I love the metal band around the outside of it. I was trying to figure out what to say. I don't know why. It reminds me of like a old school vintage camera. The metal around the exterior of the phone is just really beautiful. And so yeah, so far loving it. You got the barely gold, I see.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm not regretting my choice in ordering 2 phones whatsoever. I am returning
going
this
back.
Desert Titanium phone tomorrow.
I think that's
Which
the
one are
right
you keeping?
choice.
What's that?
What are you keeping?
I'm keeping the black one, returning the Desert Titanium one.
So same size iPhone. We all got the exact same phone. That's a little unnerving. Who would have guessed?
I mean,
I think that might be what El Caney got too. I mean, what other choice do you have?
there's the conundrum. What other choice do you got? Not a whole lot. It's like, oh, this year I'm going to do white. Oh, wow, what a bold choice. I really like the natural titanium, to be honest with you, but I want to try something new. And I do love the black color in person, I have to say. It's definitely grown on me. And I went into the Apple Store to look at the new colors. I went to look at the new phones. We'll talk about that. I think there are some impressions. I think some of my impressions have shifted. I saw the new Apple Watch Ultra 2 in the new, what do they call it?
Satin black titanium.
Satin black titanium. I can never remember these color names for some reason. And I tried it on. I tried on a bunch of sizes. Got some new opinions on that. Check this out, Lewis. I guess, Griffin, you can also check it out. Got my new AirPods here.
What?
I got the new AirPods 4 here, along with the new AirPods.
I was actually
the AirPods 3.
I was actually checking out your wrist to see if you had a black watch on there.
No. You can't even get the black watch. You kidding me?
Really?
Check out that size
So
difference.
Would you say you got the AirPods 4 and that's
Got the AirPods
AirPods
4.
3?
Yep.
You're holding it up. Oh,
got
so
the AirPods 3
it
on the
is
bottom.
considerably smaller.
Dude,
I
it's-
heard him say it was smaller, but I didn't realize just how much smaller.
It is. It is noticeably smaller for sure. So I'll talk about these in a minute.
Oh yeah, we got big questions.
Oh yeah. All right. So, and I'm super excited about them, I have to say. All right. Before we dive in, let me go ahead and give a quick thank you to 1Password for supporting this episode. Do I have them brought up on the? Oh, thank God I did it. Thank you to 1Password for supporting this episode. Lewis, prepare your imagination for me. Okay, are you there?
Oh, it's always prepared, but now it's extra prepared.
You really locked in. I want you to imagine your company's security like the quad of a college campus, Lewis. Something that you've never imagined before. Wow, he's really taking this seriously. Or he's having a seizure. I'm not sure which. There are nice brick paths between the buildings. Those are the company-owned devices, IT-approved apps, and managed employee identities. And then there are the paths people actually use, the shortcuts worn through the grass that are the actual straightest line from point A to point B. Those are unmanaged devices, Lewis, shadow IT apps, and non-employee identities like contractors. Most security tools only work on those happy brick paths, but a lot of security problems take place on the shortcuts. 1Password Extended Access Management is the first security solution that brings all these unmanaged devices, apps, and identities under your control. It ensures that every user credential is strong and protected, every device is known and healthy, and every app is visible. 1Password Extended Access Management solves the problems traditional IAM and MDM can't. It's security for the way we work today. And it's now generally available to companies with Okta and Microsoft Entra and in beta for Google Workspace customers. You can check it out yourself at 1password.com/cultcast. That's 1password.com/cultcast. Thank you to 1Password for supporting this episode. Okay, who are we going to first? I think I'm sending it to old Lewis Wallace. Old prospector Lewis Wallace.
Oh my God! Give me 1 second. You know, I got all balled up in this tweet.
Oh my goodness. We got to make sure that we leave time at the end of the show so that we can have you bit by that live rattlesnake. I promised them.
That's what threw me for a loop. It's not every day that I see that I'm going to be bitten by a live rattlesnake live
Lewis,
during the podcast.
I've realized that we need to do something to get the clicks in. And I figured if we have Lewis bitten by a live rattlesnake, what could be What could draw in more of an audience than that?
So I want to know, did you know that I've got a irrational fear of snakes?
I did not know that.
Kind of Indiana Jones that way.
Really? Okay. Well, that will make it even more entertaining because you'll probably be in a panic before it bites you.
Yeah, now I'm sweating.
Next week, I think we should have you take a roundhouse kick to the face by Jean-Claude Van Damme. I think every single week we should do something where it's a new experience for Lewis that we all get to enjoy with him.
That just sounds awesome. I think you're onto something.
I'm going to contact his people, but let's get started with this story.
What an entertainer. Okay,
I'll do anything for entertainment.
First, we're going to start off with what? Ed's review of the iPhone 16, 16 Plus. With the tantalizing headline, why you should choose iPhone 16 or 16 Plus over iPhone 16 Pro. You ready for this?
I'm not sure you should do that, but okay, let's hear it.
I like his lead. He says, I'd like to save you between $200 and $400.
Well, there's one reason, I suppose. That is a reason.
Bad.
Yeah.
It's easy. Don't assume you must buy an iPhone 16 Pro or Pro Max to get an excellent handset. The more affordable iPhone 16 and iPhone 16 Pro Plus are both brilliant. Pretty strong lead, I think. So then he goes through all the things you do in an iPhone review. He talks about all the different things. He talks about the action button and the camera control. And this is one of the main things that anybody's saying about this, right? Like this year, the difference between the Pro and the regular iPhone is so small, much smaller than usual.
Minimal. Very minimal.
And he says there's no better example of the minimal gap there's the word, minimal gap between the basic and Pro models this year than the camera control. Apple typically would reserve this sort of addition to the design for its Pro models, but it comes at all 4 iPhone 16 versions. So the sad thing about it is this is his summary of what he says about the thing. All in all, camera control could be a nice addition, but as a point-and-shoot type of guy, I have mixed feelings about it. If your method of taking pictures is, quote, point the camera at the subject and press the button, then paying $200 to $400 extra for a Pro model is probably a waste. While the cameras in the iPhone 18 Pro models give you more options, the more affordable models still take great pictures. So he's not exactly sure about the camera control, but he thinks the camera itself is just fine for normal people, right, who aren't making fantastic movies, right?
Yeah.
But did you see that thing? Like they said that 28 years later, it was filmed entirely with an iPhone 15 Pro and accessories, and it's like this monster rig.
Yeah,
pretty funny.
$25,000 worth of lighting and like gimbal equipment and stuff. Yeah.
So it's it can be done. Anyway, he talked a little bit about the displays on the thing. He says, he points out that the 2 basic iPhone 16 models come with 60 hertz displays rather than the 120 hertz Pro Motion panels of the Pro versions. And he says whether that matters is a topic open for debate. While I can see a difference between a 60 hertz iPhone screen and my 120 hertz iPad screen, it's only obvious when I put them side by side. It does not affect my day-to-day use of the iPhone. He understands it bothers some people, but not sure that everybody has to have it. And that's
some people literally can't even notice the difference between the two, and some people it gives them motion sick. Like personally, I'm in the love it category. I absolutely love the 120 hertz screen.
Well, I mean, this is like TV screens, and Irfan's always going on and on about them, right? And it's like I can tell if I like the way something looks, but I can't. I oftentimes, like if they're side by side, I can tell a difference. But if they're not, it's like, oh, they both look good, right? And I don't know, maybe
that's the argument people make with TVs all the time too. Like if you're looking at them side by side, you may notice, and you're scrutinizing over every little feature that one may have over another. But once you get in a room and there's no other comparisons, it just looks the way that it looks, and you adapt to it, and you're happy with it. Yeah, exactly, right. Exactly.
So let's see, what else does Ed talk about? He talks about he says that the A18 chip delivers nearly pro class performance, and I quote some Geekbench scores, but comparing the A18 and the regular ones versus the A18 Pro, he says that the Pro one is only 4% faster, which was shockingly small to me. On this is on Geekbench 6. I never run these tests. I don't know if you do. I don't know how much real world application they have, but let's see. And I think the final thing he talked about that was interesting is he says it's got a better battery life. He says unless you are a crazy heavy iPhone user, you can expect the battery on this iOS device to last more than a full day without needing a recharge. That's how it worked out for me. So
What
I think you made a pretty compelling case overall that for most people, this is a pretty good phone. And I mean, honestly, I almost went for one.
I almost
The
went
only
for one
reason I
too.
didn't is because I work for Colt and Mac. I mean, that is literally the only reason.
I just didn't want to lose the extra camera module. That was and the 120 hertz refresh. I mean, those were really the two things that put me over the edge. And my unavoidable compulsion to always have the best that Apple offers, even though I may not even need it. That actually might be the thing that got me there the most. But I would say out of all the years that I can recollect where Apple has released these two different model phones, I think that this is the year where it makes the least sense to get the Pro model phone because the regular iPhone is so good and it's such a huge upgrade over last year's regular iPhone. And the upgrades to the Pro phones this year are so minimal that honestly, if my 15 Pro Max hadn't been completely waterlogged from the spritz of water that it got on it,
But that's impossible.
I know it's absolutely impossible for that to happen because the seals literally never fail. I still would have upgraded, but I would have had a pause to maybe stick with that phone because that phone is still so good. And now I'm on the 16 Pro, and as much as I love how portable it is, and I do love how portable it is and how much easier it is to handle, definitely missing the bigger screen, Lewis. I'm definitely missing the bigger screen. I just feel like,
Really?
yeah, it's easier to type on the Max. The screen is just much easier to see, and I just think it's a better visual experience. But with these regular iPhones, now that they have the OLED displays, they have the exact same camera modules, although you're missing the 5x zoom. There's not really a lot of reason to upgrade. And I, for one, I have a hard time telling the difference between 60 hertz and 120 hertz. To some people, maybe their eyeballs refresh faster than mine. I feel like it's not a really huge, noticeable difference in experience for me. Some people, once they see it, they can never go back. I don't know if that's me. But
I mean, one of my favorite lines in my iPhone 16 Pro review that Leander cut, but I'm going to read it here because I think it's really great.
What?
El Candy,
Like,
classic El Candy.
Like you might not appreciate like the additional features that the Pro phone has. Like you might not appreciate the 48 megapixel ultra wide camera or the 120 frames per second video that it does in 4K, but like you'll appreciate the colors that the iPhone 16 comes in every time you look at your phone.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Ed must be like some kind of like technology sage or something because he got the iPhone 16 and he got the black one.
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
But this is also the same guy who like works on an iPad and still has an Apple Watch Series 3. So like I don't know what's wrong with Ed, but
Yeah, many things.
like,
Yeah,
who's,
you got the
who's
black.
buying the black iPhone 16?
So
That's
my
gotta be, like,
wife
the least selling phone.
Might have
wanted
been the only one he
a
could
regular
get.
iPhone 16, and I was like, okay, what color do you want? She's like, I want the white one, and I was like, well, if you're gonna get the white one, we might as well just get you the Pro. And actually, she only upgrades every 3 years, and AT&T will give you $1,000 towards even an older phone, like phones that are 2, maybe even 3 years old, to trade it in. And so I got her the Pro phone. I'm like, if you're gonna get a phone that's white, you might as well just get the Pro phone. It's a better phone, it has better resale value. And she's like, I don't care. I'm gonna just put a case on it anyway. But it does seem like it should be. I think it actually maybe should be a crime to get the black or the white regular iPhones. Like if you get it, they allow it, but then you're escorted to prison, and you're there for at least 2 years.
Oh, God, don't get me started. I get so depressed when I think about the colors, and I don't know why, but it's just over and over, same old, same old.
I know.
Every year, same exact situation. You know,
I'm really tired of it too, Lewis. I just want some variety. And I did go into the store to see the colors of the Pro phone, which we'll talk about here in a minute. Before we do, I just want to say thank you to Rooftop AZN with a $2 super chat. He said, I'd rather break both my legs than go back to 60 hertz. You heard it. You heard it here, folks.
Wow.
You heard it here first, folks.
You know
Let's-
what? I wonder.
get the
I bet
board
you
and a
would
hammer.
miss the. Ooh, boy.
What? Misery
Board
style?
and a hammer.
Yeah, like
Oh
Misery
my
style.
God. First the rattlesnake, then this. You're in
for-
a dark place.
anything
you
for
do
a
need a
click.
vacation.
Anything for a click. Wait a second, Lewis. Hold on. I gotta say, he'll go last with the $50 super chat. This question may get the admin after me, but why do you guys care so much about the color of the phone? Wow, it's completely appropriate to the conversation as well. Don't you just put a case on it anyway, which hides the phone's color? The color of the case is what you see and not the phone's color, and 2 people gave that the thumbs up. What do you think about
I
that,
mean, I
Lewis?
understand the argument. I don't know. It's some psychological weird thing, right? I mean, it's true. I got a case on my phone. I didn't use a case on the Pro Max for a long time because it was so dang big.
Yeah.
But it's something about they're just, you look at this thing and it's like you're looking at a car. What difference does the color of the car make, right? I mean, you're driving, you don't see it.
Makes a big difference, man.
It has a psychological impact on you, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it does on me.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Same thing with guitars, same thing with anything. It's just a style thing. And yeah, okay, it's mostly covered up, but you still know. You still know. When you're driving down when you're driving around the road in your Subaru, which is probably about the color of one of the iPhone Pros. I don't really know for sure, but it's probably not, orange metal flake colored, right? But if it was, you'd carry yourself. You'd know, oh, I got a crazy looking car. And you'd feel, well, first you'd probably be worried about the cops, but second, you'd feel more confident.
More like a man.
More like somebody who has something that looks cool, even if you don't take it out of the case.
Phones are so important to people. It's like you have like a symbiotic part extension of your body. And if it comes in a fun color, then it brings you a little bit of joy every time you use it, which is, dozens of times a day. And to answer the other part of his question, no, I don't have mine in a case because I like being able to.
I'm going to go caseless too. I mean, it's so beautiful. And the thing is I have the MagSafe wallet. So one of the things I don't like about having the phone nude like this is that it makes it kind of harder to hold and harder to pull out of your pocket because it's more slippery. But what I found is like when you put the wallet on there, it actually makes it a lot easier to grab. It makes it easier to hold. And so I'm really loving this nude look. I bought the Apple Care Plus. So if I spritz it with water and it starts disintegrating like it was hit with the blood from an alien from that movie Aliens, then I can just go get a new one. And if I drop it, I can replace it. So there's some peace of mind. I would definitely not go nude if I didn't have insurance for it, because you're just asking to have to rebuy your phone. But I am getting a case, and the case that I always get allows me to enjoy the color of the phone, which is a bumper case. But yeah, to your point, if you're going to be putting it in a big 25-cent plastic case from the back alleys of Shanghai, then I don't think it matters. I really don't know why it matters, although it is still psychological.
Actually, can I ask you a quick follow-up question on the MagSafe wallet?
Yeah. When
you have the MagSafe wallet on the back, do the camera lenses still touch the table when you put it down?
No. It elevates it. So like when you put it down, it lifts the entire phone high enough. So you can kind of even see it there. See, like it kind of like...
That's interesting.
The MagSafe wallet is pretty thin, but I was wondering if it was thinner than the cameras.
No, it's probably like maybe with 3... So the thing I don't like about the MagSafe wallet is it only holds 3 cards. And it's not very durable. Like it's starting to fall apart. I've only had it for maybe 2 or 3 years. 2 years maybe. But it does elevate the phone maybe twice as high as the cameras, which is nice, so that it keeps the cameras from like touching the table or whatever like dirt or debris is on whatever surface you're laying it on. So, but I did order a bumper case. I got the same one I always get, the Crash Guard, which is supposed to be coming sometime next week. It's going to be ridiculously thick, like my case for my 15 Pro Max, but that thickness makes it easier to handle. I just want to read this comment real fast, Lewis, because I know you're about to say something. This might be the best way to describe the Max versus the Pro that I've ever heard. This is from Ultra Doug, not regular Doug, not Super Doug, Ultra Doug.
Max Doug. Doug Max?
I think Ultra is higher than Max.
Oh.
I believe it is, because you got 2 Dougs. In fact, it might be 2 Dougs. Like maybe he has a twin and they both talk and think about the exact same things at the same time. The Max is better while you're using it and worse while you're not. Boom! That's 100% true. That is 100% true.
I think it's worse while you're using it as well. I didn't like my big phone.
I enjoyed it, but yeah.
Yeah, I got to say, man, I am really loving having the smaller phone. And
I am too.
When I hold the two side by side, it's weird how similar in size they actually are. Yeah. I mean, they're not that different, but it's just however much bigger it is just like over the line, can't handle it, especially if it's in a case. For me, with my, not gigantic hands.
Tiny rodent hands.
Don't say it. Don't say it. I swear to God, man, I don't really notice the difference like from using it. Maybe watching videos, okay, that's less good.
Yes.
But I don't watch that many videos on my phone.
See, I watch a ton of videos on my phone, and I definitely notice that I have less screen real estate now.
Yeah, okay. Well, fair enough. And if you do that a lot, then, start stretching your hands. The other thing, though, is like reading. I always have to take my glasses off anyway. I'm always holding the thing up to my face, so it doesn't matter if it's a bigger phone, a half an inch further away from my face. Although, maybe my brain would be getting slightly less fried by the bigger phone, so it wouldn't be holding it quite as close to my mole rat eyes. But I don't know. I haven't even gone into an Apple store to see the regular phones in person, but boy, they look good in the pictures. You went in the store, right? You saw what do the colors look like in person?
Oh, they're so vibrant and bold and beautiful. And that teal one, I would totally buy that one if they released that in a pro version of the phone. I liked all the colors, actually. All the colors
Teal
for the regular
rather than
iPhones.
rather than the ultramarine.
I liked ultramarine too. The ultramarine looked a little purplish for me, so not really my favorite kind of color. That pink was beautiful, and I love how they matched the colors and the materials themselves to make the phone have some pop, because usually the phones are so boring and drab. Oh, look at those colors. Yeah, that teal is really beautiful. I also saw the Pro color phones, and I really sat there and stared at the Desert Titanium, and I'm happy I didn't get it. You know why it's hard to tell what color it is when you see it in pictures? It's because there's almost no color. It looks like the white phone, and unless you hold it at the exact right angle, it looks like the white iPhone, except for the metal going around it and for the metal going around the lenses. It just looks like a white phone. It's barely gold. I mean, we've been saying that in jest. That is really what it looks like. It looks like it's barely gold. And if you hold it at the exact right angle, it looks kind of gold.
It looks more beige in my office just because I have like the really warm lighting in here. But, if I hold it up against this window, which is more blue, it then starts to look basically white,
Yeah. From most angles, it does look white. I think a bigger problem than the color is the new camera button, which we don't have to go too much on about, but it is a little finicky to interact with. It's not as smooth as I think it probably should be from a UX experience, or from a UX perspective. And also, a lot of cases just don't support that feature very well. Like, I think your case has to be built and constructed in a very specific way to have that feature work. Now, the Apple silicone cases, which are on sale on Woot right now, by the way, for $30 each, if anyone's
on Woot.
Yeah,
really, $30.
$30 if you
for
want
the
one.
16 Pro.
Yes, and the 16 Pro Max.
I
and the
got
16.
ripped off.
You paid $50 for yours, didn't you?
I got it on sale for $40, I think.
Yeah, they're still. I should bring this up. I'll send a bill to Woot.
Jeez. I'll return this thing and get a new one.
Yeah, you should. Woot
$10.
iPhone 16 case. Yeah, they were on sale for $30. Yeah, they're still on sale. If you're in the
How
U.S.,
is the silicone case? Because I've heard in the past years that the Apple silicone case was like kind of sticky and it like stuck to the inside of your pocket, and that they like kind
I've
of
heard
cheapened
that
over
too.
time and fell apart. Are they actually better this year?
I have no idea. I haven't used one, but I know
I
that
Lewis has one.
Lewis, do you? Oh, you do have one. Sorry, Lewis. Yeah, you just said that.
I got the only way you can make your iPhone Pro Apple approved actually have some color. Because even the cases are dull looking.
Yeah,
but not this one.
Is
Starfruit.
Is it kind of sticky, Lewis? Like, is it grippy?
I think it feels great. It's got a very like silky smooth feeling to it.
Really?
I could set the phone down and it doesn't slide off the table, which it happens when you don't use a case of any sort. I think it feels great in the hand. I had one of these a few years back, and I bought it like from Amazon. I wasn't maybe 100% sure it was actually a legitimate iPhone case.
Okay.
I guess it probably was, and I didn't think it held up that great. I mean, it got some nicks in it within a few months. I mean, I didn't have the phone for over a year. It lasted for over a year, but I don't know. I like them. The weirdest thing to me about them is they have a little bit of a smell, and I can't really describe it. It actually made me start thinking. I was looking at this thing. It's almost a it's a yellow, almost chartreuse kind of color.
Yeah.
They call it Starfish. I was like, they should really make these like scratch and sniff. Like you actually ought to be able to smell them.
Lewis,
And
normally you have great ideas. That might
You
be
don't like that one?
That might be the best one you've ever had. Scratch and sniff.
Scratch and sniff iPhone case. That's
You just went
Apple's-
ultra Lewis.
don't mark my words. Apple's going to make money. I'm going to turn the company around.
Yeah, they're really
Yeah.
struggling, and
right.
I'm a stockholder, so I appreciate that.
Let's
The,
actually officially move on to the iPhone 16 Pro segment.
Yeah,
'cause
dude.
we're still.
We're still. How does this always happen?
We're talking. We're people talking.
We're just people talking. What do you want from me? All right, well, we don't have to do this now, but I want to talk about the other things I saw inside the store, especially the new Ultra. But you're right. We should move on. Oh my gosh, we got so much left, and I gotta be walking these sweet buns out the door. You all know, probably like 1:35 at the latest. So take it away, Griffin. Let's do
Okay.
the
so
iPhone
this is
16
my,
Pro review.
iPhone 16 Pro review. I'm just. I left out of our notes here all the things that we talked about last week in my first impressions, but here are the things that I've come up with in the days since.
Okay.
So I actually ran the numbers on the size and weight. The iPhone 15 Pro shed like a lot of the size and weight, but the iPhone 16 Pro rebounded and gained 60% of the weight that the iPhone 15 Pro had lost.
Oh man.
So in comparison, my iPhone 16 Pro is virtually the same width, a little taller, and like noticeably heavier than my iPhone 12 Pro.
Wow.
So I got none of the advantages of the titanium, confirming what I was feeling. Yeah, you're mentioning before the camera control does feel a little fiddly, but the nice thing is that if you can't be bothered to figure out that whole user interface, you don't really have to. You can just use it as like a button that clicks to
Yeah.
open the camera and clicks again to take a picture. It also remembers which option you leave it on. So if you always want the camera control to, switch the photographic style or, add portrait mode blur, you can set it to that and leave it. I think maybe a lot of the reviewers put a little too much stock into it's confusing how you have to double click to switch through the menu. Like, I don't think you're really supposed to go into that menu a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I imagine most people will probably find something that they like to use it for and then just leave it there. The
What are the
photographic
things-
styles themselves. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say,
ahead.
what are the different options it gives you? I can't even remember. It's like zoom, photo
Exposure.
styles.
Exposure, the focus
Exposure.
mode, the tone, the style. And
Yeah.
there's two different options that have both zoom and cameras. Cameras is mostly the same, except it only lets you go by like the integer amounts of like 0.5, 1, 2, and 5. Whereas the zoom lets you, pick any number in between there. Photographic styles. I played around with this. I think it's really neat. And I think that like for anybody who complains that iPhone pictures look too drab and too gray and too boring, like this is the feature for you. You can set the particular style you like if you want everything to look more saturated or more stylized or more vintage or stuff like that. It almost feels like they're taking like direct aim at Fujifilm with this feature. Like Fujifilm's whole thing is that they have these different modes that emulate different film stocks, and that kind of feels like photographic styles is. trying to go
Everyone
after.
tries to copy him. No one's nailed it
Except-
yet. Yeah.
Except photographic styles are better because you can always change the effect afterwards.
Yeah.
Because it saves all of the extra sensor data that it captures along with it.
That's interesting.
The minimum focus distance, I did a test and I got exact numbers. So this is the measure of how close you can get the main camera before it can't focus anymore and gets blurry and switches to the ultra wide lens. On my iPhone 12 Pro, this was 8.7 centimeters. The iPhone 16 Pro doubles that, 16.7 centimeters.
Oh.
So that's actually a pretty significant distance that like the main lens can't actually focus on.
Yeah.
Which is really good thing that they upgraded the ultra wide camera this year. I guess regular iPhone 16 users kind of miss out on that, but if you pay attention and like you like hold your phone like straight on against like a flat surface and just like slowly move it closer, you can see when it does the switch. It's like it's a pretty noticeable to me at least. Let's see. The new ultra wide lens has a bigger sensor. Let's see. 4K 120 video. It's kind of crazy. That's all I'll say about it. Like it's
Very cool
insane how
feature.
high resolution and just it looks just as bright when you're shooting at like that 120 FPS. It's kind of insane. I took a few videos of like just my dogs running around in my backyard, and I was just like slowing it down to 25%, down to 20%.
Just watching the drool fly everywhere in slow motion.
Yeah. Or like my dog Scout, as he's running, like you can see like the lips on it.
That is pretty cool. I mean, 4K 120 is definitely a useful feature to have. And for those of you that don't know, I presume most people know, but like it's like the best form of slow motion. Like that. I mean, there are slower than 120, but it's probably the most common type of slow motion that you see, and makes everything look like really cinematic and beautiful as the dog's face is like flapping up and down slowly and stuff.
And if you actually
great for kids.
if you actually go into slow-mo mode, you can do HD 240 FPS.
That's bonkers. I wonder how good
Just
it looks.
kinda
Like
crazy.
once you get past 120, usually they have to make sacrifices in quality to get up to that high of a level of slow motion. But
Cinematic mode. This was new to me. I was never really convinced that it was going to look good, and I watched a lot of the example footage that people shot when it was new on the iPhone 13 Pro. Cinematic mode has gotten a lot better. I
That's
will
crazy.
say
It only
it
took
looks.
3 generations.
Well, portrait mode was kind of the same. Like,
Yeah.
I suffered with the iPhone 7 Plus because I wanted the 2 extra cameras, and I suffered with a phone that was too big that I hated. And honestly, the pictures that it took weren't very good anyways. Like, I look back on those old telephoto photos and they look like garbage. But like, a few years later, portrait mode is pretty good now, and it seems like it just took a few years for cinematic mode to get good. And now you can shoot it in 4K. It's not limited to 1080p 30 anymore.
That was the big hang up for me. I was like, oh, now all my videos are going to be in 1080p. I'm like, this instantly became useless to me.
Now, the contrast to that is shooting spatial video. I expected the iPhone 16 Pro to be able to capture spatial video at a higher resolution, or at least maybe a higher frame rate, especially because they upgraded that ultra wide sensor. But no, for some reason, it's still limited to 1080p 30. And I'm one of the few iPhone 16 Pro owners who actually owns a Vision Pro. So that's a little
It's because it
disappointing,
has
say
to
the least.
process 2 video streams at the exact same time.
Well, they doubled the bandwidth of the image signal processor.
Well,
You'd
there's
think it'd be
clearly
capable.
something going on. Maybe it's the processing that it takes to do 2 video streams at the same time. I mean, your iPhone should also let you record 2 videos at the same time when you're just doing regular videos, like so you could do reaction videos. And as long as we're being picky, why can't you switch between the front-facing and the rear-facing cameras during a live recording? That makes no sense. So there's clearly some kind of like processing limitation or something happening, or they don't want it to affect battery life or something, but there's some serious features that are missing from the Photos app.
Yeah. The battery life. The battery life is great. On Sunday, I had it like unplugged for over 15 hours, actively using it at like about half that time for over 7 hours. And for 90 minutes of that, I had the screen on full brightness with directions and Apple Maps. And when I got back and put it on the charger, I still had 28% battery. So
Wow.
pretty damn good.
See, mine's been worse, but I think it's because I had to wipe my phone twice, and then once you do that, it spends a bunch of time doing background processes. So it's hard to gauge it when you first get the phone because it spends a lot of time configuring things in the background.
Yeah. Well, actually, that's the end of my notes. So if you want to go on your diatribe there.
Oh, I don't want to complain too much, but Lewis and I were just kind of talking about all of the problems that we were having with this phone. I mean, I tried to, so this first one is my fault. I tried to restore my backup from my previous phone, and then I realized, oh, I'm now out of space because it moved everything from my iPhone 15 Pro Max, which had 256 gigabytes of storage, to my new phone, and my new phone only has 128 gigs. So now I have to restore it and basically set it up as new, which is annoying, but that's my own fault. I think a big part of what Apple needs to fix with iPhones, and this is not just from like setting up new iPhones or restoring iPhones, is giving you a way to and this is such a classic Apple thing that they do. It's like they just try to control it for you. The Photos app, like your option is download everything at full resolution or optimize it for me. But you can't determine how much space you want the Photos app to take up on your phone. And so it just starts doing whatever it's going to do, and it starts slurping in photos. And so after I restored the phone for the first time after setting it up, I noticed that the Photos file was getting really huge. And I think there's a reason for that, which I won't go into here. And so my phone filled up again. And now I am trying to figure out how to reduce the size of the photos file on my phone. Guess what? There's no way to do it. There's absolutely no way to do it. Even if you turn off iCloud syncing and it deletes all your photos from your phone, which, by the way, mine only like half did it, and there was a bunch of photos left, and I didn't know how to get rid of them. You don't want to start deleting stuff because that could delete them from your iCloud photo library if you're not careful. And there is no way to reduce the size of the photos file other than restoring the phone that I have found. So I had to restore it a second time. By the way, I had all sorts of other little problems, just like syncing with iCloud. My Apple Watch wasn't working normally and wasn't syncing with my phone. Your Apple Watch backup is tied to your iPhone backup. So if you set up a phone as new, you basically have to set up your Apple Watch as new as well. You can't restore it. So now you have a new Apple Watch as well with all your faces gone. So there's just a lot of little issues that I had. I could go on, but I don't think you guys want to hear me complain for 10 minutes.
I guess
major
why
first world
did
problems.
you go down from 256 to 128? If it sounds like your phone was using that space.
Well, I didn't really think much about it, to be honest with you, and that's a me problem. I was like, I don't really need to have 256 gigabytes of storage. I know I'm going to upgrade again next year, and all of my stuff is stored in the cloud, so like I'm not going to put 128 gigs of photos and videos on this in a year. The reason my last phone had so much, and I guess I'll just tell you guys this because this won't affect most people, but I use Synology photos in addition to iCloud photos. So I store some stuff only on my network attached storage, which is Synology NAS. And I learned that when you're moving things around from Synology to the Photos app, like maybe you're trying to take something from the Synology app or the drives and move it into a shared folder, it drastically what increases the storage used in the Photos app for some reason, big time. And I don't know why. And there's no way to get rid of it. So that was a weird issue that I was having. If I didn't have that issue, I think 128 gigs would probably have been fine. Because if you restore your phone, it only brings in some photos and videos from iCloud. It doesn't like take up 100 gigabytes of storage. Like right now, it's only taking 7. And so that will, I think I have 90 gigs of storage left. That's going to last me a whole year. So I didn't want to spend the extra money to get 256 because I didn't really see a point. But anyway, that's me. Lewis, what problems were you having? Because you were complaining about stuff too.
Well, I had at least one app that like tapping was not working. I was not able to, and that was one of the things that people were reporting problems with the touchscreen, intermittent problems. I've had a few little problems like that, but nothing super serious. One of the main things that I do with the watch and the phone, together, right, is listen to podcasts, and when there's 3 minutes of commercials, tap on my wrist, boom, boom,
right.
Boom, right through and that has been not syncing properly over and over, it's weird. It doesn't work at all. I can't get the watch to get to the thing that's playing on the phone, and then like I switch to a different watch and it works, and I switch back the other watch and it works, and then I switch the other watch again, it doesn't. It's like it's inconsistent. It's not keeping track of exactly how far I've listened, how far I've gone into a podcast, so you go back, you switch, and it's like not the same. It's like, hey, it seems like I heard this before. Yeah, sure enough, I've already listened to this entire episode. The voice recognition, which still
terrible.
sucks.
Yeah.
Still sucks. Terrible, horrible. Somehow it brought over all the like for some reason, and this is absolutely a pain in my ass all the time. Half the time when I say Mac, it puts in capital MAC. The other half of the time it puts in, for I have no idea why, it puts in capital MAC, capital Q. Isn't that nice? Why? Can somebody explain to me why that is? I mean, maybe at some point in my life I said Mac and I accidentally tapped a Q and somehow tapped the screen and added it to my dictionary, which is apparently uneditable. But so in addition to just being, not great, it also now the microphone will be on, it's lit up or whatever, dark or whatever it is, and yet it's like it just doesn't hear anything. I'm trying to say an
keeps
entire
happening to
sentence,
me
and
too.
it
Yep.
just stops right in the middle of the sentence.
That's what happened.
And
to
there's,
me.
I mean, come on. Yeah, and I think I'm not 100% sure if that has only been happening when I'm wearing AirPods. It's possible because I wear AirPods a lot.
Yeah.
But that's not a premium experience. That is a garbage experience. That is, my crap doesn't work together the way it's supposed to experience. My really expensive phone that can't hear what I'm saying when I'm talking directly to it. So let me see what else.
That was happening on my 15 Pro Max as well. So I think that's an iOS issue.
I've definitely noticed the touchscreen inputs. Like it feels
Really?
like the palm rejection is being way overactive. Like I reach over to tap one thing and like I just can't tap, and then I have to very carefully go back to a two-hand motion and then just surgically lower my finger onto the screen, and then it works.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, it seems like all of the software just seems a little bit glitchy right now.
Yeah.
Even the Mac, I've been having all kinds of weird things going on with my Mac. Today I'm trying to edit a post. I go and look at it. There's, we use WordPress. I go and look at it. There's no text in the body of the WordPress editor. I look on the site. Oh yeah, sure there is text in there. So for some reason it thinks there's not. I was trying to change tags on a story. It wouldn't let it happen. I tried. I use Chrome because it, a variety of reasons. Certain tools only work in Chrome. So I rebooted that. I checked for an upgrade. Everything. Eventually restarted the Mac, and then suddenly it works fine. So but that is such a weird, random problem, and I never have experienced that before in the over a decade I've been using WordPress. I tried to switch to Safari briefly for 20 minutes when the first day
there's a really bad WordPress bug in Safari right now. It's been there all summer. It just completely breaks the layout of the text editor on the classic text editor in WordPress. It's kind of hilarious. But
it's pathetic.
I will give at least
probably not Apple's problem, but
one shining light example, and maybe this is a good tip for our listeners who haven't yet received their new iPhone. Apparently, if a new thing that you can do to transfer data between two devices is you can just get a cable and plug your two phones into each other.
Oh, no way.
I did that.
It'll transfer by the cable instead. So I dug through my cable closet, found a Lightning to USB-C cable, plugged them into each other, and then it worked. Or I guess if you're going from 15 to 16, then you could just use the USB-C cable that comes in the box.
No way. That's a great tip. I didn't know that. Yeah, I had trouble transferring my
2 hours. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
It used to take 2 hours to transfer between two phones, but it took only half as long this time. Only 40 minutes, maybe 45 minutes, and I was in.
Yeah, because I tried to do that on my phones, but via Wi-Fi, and it just straight up failed. I got to the very end of setup. Oh, so I didn't even mention this. I think I had to reset my phone for this reason as well, because I got to the very end of setup, and I was going to try and transfer everything from my old phone, and I got to the very end, and it's like, sorry, can't do it. You need to start all over. And I was like, what? I just went through the whole setup process, and now I have to start the whole thing over. Anyway, I don't know if we need to keep complaining, but yeah, I had tons of problems this time. And it was just my iPhone. I reinstalled or installed is it tvOS 11 last night, and now one of my HomePods just won't mute. It just always has sound, and it's in a stereo pair with my other one. So you'll turn the volume way down, and the other one goes all the way down to nothing, but that one on the left only goes down to 20%, and that's where it stops. It just, the audio is always going. You can't, and so I reset the HomePods, or I restarted them, didn't fix it. So I'm probably going to have to completely reset my HomePods, set them up as stereo pairs again. And
what a pain.
I've been having tons of little problems like that with my Apple Watch, with my iPhone, with my Apple TV. It's just a bunch of little things that just don't really work. And I'm like, do I want to reset my entire phone again? So I actually, come to think of it, I think I reset my phone, I erased it, and completely reinstalled the OS, I think maybe 3 times total, and now everything's working normally. So,
You,
but
you
that's
know,
because I know how to do it. I mean, imagine if you were like someone who doesn't know how to do any of this stuff.
Or
You'd
for
be
instance,
completely lost.
married to someone who doesn't know how to do any of this stuff.
Or that, or that.
Oh, good. My tech support days are not over. So the other thing that kind of threw me for a loop was I think I got around to upgrading. I got the phone Friday, but I was busy all weekend long, and I'm like, I don't have time to deal with setting up an iPhone and all that. And so I did it Monday morning, and great. Okay, I go through all this. It takes a while. It feels like it takes forever. And then of course you have to log into everything again. It just although I got to say, I've always used Dashlane. I've started using the new Passwords app. I really like that. The free one in
Me too.
in iOS 18.
So
Very handy.
So
wish there was a way to
long-needed
import the
app.
password. Yeah, I mean it's kind of I can see why they didn't want to stick it to people who make password apps, but then again they've done that to every kind of other developer. So anyway, so after I did this upgrade, then I'm like, I think it was Wednesday morning. I get up and I get this little notification that says, your phone is ready to upgrade to iOS 18. I'm like, what? What is? That's odd. And for a second, I actually thought, my God, did my phone somehow ship with iOS 17 or what's going on? I just didn't know what was going on. And I looked at it. Sure enough, it says 18.0. And so I said, okay, fine. Yeah, go ahead. And it goes to the thing. And then after it does this, it takes 15 minutes or whatever. I can't remember. Probably wasn't that long. But it goes to that hello screen, like when you first open the phone out of the box. And I was like, oh, my God, please tell me that it did not. And I'm like, oh, my God. And I flip it open and it's like.
Oh, you have it too.
It just showed up for me too. Yeah. My phone has iOS 18.
Yeah. It's a little bit weird, isn't it? So if you look at that, so if you look at it, what you'll see is that I suspect what you'll see is that you have iOS 18 build. What is the number?
You have the build that they flashed it in the factory, whereas that update is for the actual release candidate, like final version of iOS
18.
Yeah,
Okay.
You're running an old version of iOS 18. It's the new version is build 22A3354, and I don't know. I haven't had that screen thing. I bet maybe yours has build 22A3351.
Where does it say? I don't even know. Is this like the most boring radio we've ever made?
I know but the thing is, I think it's interesting to know what's going on here. You go into settings, general, about, iOS version.
Okay.
And it's already going to say iOS 18.
3351.
Yep, that's the old version. That's the pre-release candidate version that they put on these phones in the factory, or at least some of them. I don't know if it's every single one or not. You won't believe this. Apple didn't respond to questions about this, but anyway,
you see the hello screen, but it's not that all was lost. Your phone had just needed to update a moment.
Yeah, this is basically a public service announcement. Don't have a heart attack when you see that.
Don't have a cow,
screen.
man. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's going to ask you, I bet it's going to ask you to turn on stolen device protection once you do this.
Isn't that just Find My?
No, it's a special feature.
Oh, that's the one that we talked about previously where...
Yeah.
Okay.
And you probably already have it on. It's probably going to ask you to turn it on. I suspect what happened is they somehow shipped this thing, the iOS had a little glitch in it that turned that off, and they thought, well, we don't want that to happen. So, it's pretty simple. And then after that, what was the other thing I saw? Oh, yeah, welcome to iPhone. That screen after that is like, oh, my God, another.
But it does that every time you update now, doesn't it? I think so.
Well,
that
I don't
hello
know.
Screen is what you see after every update.
Is that right?
I think so, yeah. That's I have noticed that. I don't know how long that's been happening.
Yeah, maybe it's true. But
or maybe that's just new for... Yeah, I don't know when that happened, but I've seen that before,
I think it might just be like the major 0.1, 0.2 updates. I don't think it does that for like the minor bug fix ones like iOS 17.1.3,
Yeah. It definitely has been going on for a while on my iPad as well.
All I know is it scared me when I saw it. I just, my heart sank.
Yeah, imagine having to do that 3 times.
Got to be kidding me. I can't have another day of like nothing really quite works right.
I had immediately
But
installed iOS 18.1 because I had to talk about the Apple Intelligence stuff. So I was spared that minor panic.
All right, look, we got to move on. But before we do, I want to make a couple of quick statements about the best way to keep your phone and your iPad and all your tech and gadgets and glasses sparkling clean. First, an apology. Oh my goodness, we had a problem with our uh, with our order tracking system, and there was a bunch of orders that were in the system that I actually didn't know about. So some of you, your orders have been sitting in there for 2 weeks, and you're probably wondering where your order is. You may have just gotten a shipment notification today, because I fixed the problem, and then I was like, oh, there's a bunch of orders in here. What the heck? I didn't even see these. So we are shipping all those out today. So my apologies to everyone who ordered CultCloth and is getting them late. But we are also back online, fully restocked. And if you have a new iPhone coming in, you want to keep it looking in its sparkling clean state, now is the time to do it. We just upgraded. I haven't even put this on the site yet, but I'm letting you all know our carry cloth to a much better version. Like, I have been tinkering, looking for, just playing around with different cloths, and I found one that I really liked a lot. And it develops like these microfibers as you use it. So it has the same type of cleaning technology as our other CultCloth does, but in a more miniature form factor. And the more you use it, the better it gets. Now, if you ordered in the last week, you're already getting the new cloths. If you order from this point forward, you will also get the new carry cloths as well. Just a way better product than our last ones, and our last ones were really good. So they will do better at cleaning all the cracks in your life.
how do they work on crackheads?
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, we ship them to many people who use all sorts of cracks and have all sorts of cracks. So if that's a problem for you, then I invite you to head on over to cultcloth.co, and place an order. When you do, you'll be getting yourself the absolute best way that I have found to keep your gadgets, glasses, lenses, cameras sparkling clean, even in the cracks and crevices, which is where all other cloths fail. And you'll just love them. I use them every single day, and they keep all of my stuff sparkling clean. And if you use code CultCast at checkout, you'll get a free extra carry cloth with any order $20 plus. CultCloth.co, CultCloth.co. Someone in the chat, Tommy's saying CultCloth is one of the few that he's found that works on the nano texture. Oh boy, be careful with that. I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't work on the nano texture, but that's probably not something I would ever endorse, just because if it ruins your nano texture, then I'm in a lawsuit with you. So definitely be careful with that.
Wow.
Let's talk about Apple Watch Series 10, Griffin, before we wrap up here.
Yeah, so Dave Snow wrote a review on the Apple Watch Series 10. Here's how he describes it. He says it's larger, thinner, and lighter, and more lusciously curvaceous than predecessors.
Oh, ooh la la.
It's technically a redesign, but it does have a very similar look. He says it feels like a bunch of iterative improvements more than a huge overhaul, and yet those small changes add up to something great. With only a couple small caveats. He got the big one at 46 millimeters rather than the 42. Wait, no, that can't be right.
He should have grabbed
He
the
should
big
have
one.
yeah. So you were saying that you think the big one is the one to get. Apparently, like, Dave got the small one, and he feels like he misses out. He should have gotten the bigger one. Let's see. I worried the polished aluminum case might look suspiciously like plastic. Would it look quite like some Casio calculator watch from 1990 brought into the modern age? Almost, but not quite. It's actually visually striking and cool. It looks more premium than my silver aluminum Apple Watch Series 6. Apple refined the digital crown, offering more precise haptic feedback that makes scrolling through apps a joy. I hadn't read about that anywhere else, so that's nice to know. I did notice that the digital crown, Apple occasionally tweaks like the design of like the little notches cut into the side of the crown.
Huh.
On this new Series 10, it looks like they have fewer lines drawn in them.
And yeah, that's true. It looks like the lines don't go as far into the crown as they did before.
Yeah. Let's see. The body temperature measured from the wrist needs 7 sleep sessions to apply certain health metrics like sleep apnea detection. So he hasn't been able to get a read on that. But he does say that he's been told by doctors before that he's susceptible to sleep apnea. So I guess it's all, we'll probably know by the end of the week if he, like, all the alarm goes off on his wrist telling you that he has that.
I wonder how that gets presented. Hey, you feeling drowsy? You might need to see a doctor.
He says, while it's disappointing that the Apple Watch Series 10 didn't boost overall battery life over the Series 9, it instead matched it at about 18 hours depending on use, which is more than enough for all day. Powered by the new S10 chip, the Apple Watch Series 10 is blazingly fast. Apps open instantly, animations are butter smooth, and there's zero lag switching between tasks. It has the speaker that can play music and podcasts directly out of it. He says the speaker sounds okay, not too tinny, but could be useful at times. It's not loud enough for many uses, but it could hook you up with tunes and stories in quiet places, like if you're just getting ready to go to bed or that sort of thing.
Huh. I saw it in person, and I guess all I would add is it definitely is more beautiful. I mean, this kind of goes, there's a theme here, right? It's Apple making all of their, maybe not all of their, but a lot of like their base level products far more premium. And that's certainly true here. And I have gone on the record before saying that no man should have a large Apple Watch, regular Apple Watch on his wrist because it looks too much like jewelry. This one, because they've made it thinner and I feel like they've changed the shape, I feel like it looks a lot better on people's wrists, even large wrists, than the previous versions of the Apple Watch. I didn't try it on myself. I think I need to try it. But this one doesn't look as fragile and feminine as the previous versions of the Apple Watch, the regular Apple Watch. I really like
the picture he has in his review of the Series 10 right next to his Series 6, and you can see how much thinner it is. It's almost like the Series 10 ends where like the aluminum body of the Series 6 ends. Like the Series 6 has like the glass on top of the aluminum case, and like the Series 10 is like so much thinner that it's like as thin as only the bottom like part of the Series 6.
Huh. Interesting. I still think that the regular Apple Watches look better on like female wrists than they do on male wrists. There's just something about a big fat wrist with like this elegant, fragile looking watch that doesn't look normal to me. I think that the Ultras still look better on most men's wrists, but that's just me. You all can do whatever you want. But I think in the dressier aesthetic style that they have with the metal band, with like the shiny metal, that might be a look I could get behind because now it looks a little bit more classy. It's a little bit dressier, but I don't know. I need to try the thing on. Any other comments on? Yeah, go ahead.
You went to the Apple store and you looked at the Apple Watch in satin black. What are your thoughts there?
Okay, yeah, that's where I was going next. Okay, so the Apple Watch Ultra 2. Super hot on that. I was ready to go in and buy one, but I was like, I should probably go look at this thing first, right? Especially with the new Mithril, aka Milanese loop, gifted to us by Gandalf, aka Tim Cook, Apple Tim Cook. So I tried on a bunch of different versions just to kind of figure out which one fit me the best, and I liked the color a lot less than I thought I was going to. In fact, I decided not to buy it after seeing it in person. It's a lot darker in person than it looks. And I think that the orange color that they put on the digital crown and the action button they do not match the color of the actual black body of the watch. I think it's kind of like a big mismatch color-wise. It's like when they used to put the red rings on the cellular versions of the Apple Watch. I don't know why they continue to do this. I think it's a huge mistake. I don't think there's a reason that you need to put something on it that distinguishes that it has cellular, like, or put it somewhere else on the body. It doesn't need to be like this loud, in-your-face color on a subtle minimalist style watch. I will also say the Milanese loop, it feels a lot cheaper than it looks. There's something about that titanium that feels like tinny and lightweight. It's not as
It's
smooth.
the lightness.
Yeah, maybe it's just that. it's not as smooth as the regular Milanese loop. Like the steel one is very flexible and fluid feeling, and the Milanese loop, like the titanium one, it doesn't have the same way of movement. It doesn't have the same kind of movement that the regular Milanese loop has. Now, I still like it, but it does feel a little bit cheaper than the regular Milanese loop, and it is a lot lighter weight, so maybe that's just the reason why it feels cheaper. But I think the way the links are put together, it just doesn't move as freely as older or the steel Milanese loops. That said, the natural titanium one, that's the one. That's the one. I'm so happy I went and looked at it in person. The natural titanium Apple Watch with the natural titanium Milanese loop, I think is an absolutely beautiful combo. The orange still annoys me.
If they come out with a Series 3 and it comes in both like the silver and black, would you get the silver again?
I would get the silver again. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I think it looks much nicer in person. The black just looks more cheap to me. That's just me.
The watch?
Yeah.
The watch itself?
Yeah.
Is it because of the orange?
It's because of the black and the orange. Like the black, I just don't think it's a very nice color black. And the orange that they put on it contradicts the color of the main watch body. I think it's a huge mistake.
Full Halloween.
They should have made it blacked out. They should have just blacked out the whole thing. There should be no orange on that thing at all. It should all be black. And I think it would have looked a lot better. I don't know what it is with Apple and this weird obsession with putting in loud colors on a watch body that is supposed to have, that can have interchangeable straps. So now you have orange on a watch body, and you have these watch straps which probably conflict with that color. Orange is a pretty bold color to put on anything, and not a lot of the colors match with orange. So I don't know why they do it. I just wish they would stop and move on.
It's funny.
Yeah.
So maybe they should switch the color people from the watch to the phone, the Pro phone.
Yeah, there you go. So
complaining all for hours and hours, weeks on end about the colors of the phones, and then the orange on the black, it's just too bold.
that orange is so weird. So for me, as much as I thought it was beautiful in the pictures and looks really nice on Apple's website, I didn't like it in person. So I would recommend that you go try it on in person. The Milanese loop itself, like I said, beautiful band. I love the new attachment mechanism that they have, and the way that you adjust it really seems like it holds its position pretty well. So I think my next Apple Watch, I'm going to wait. I'm going to get the next Series 3 or the Ultra 3. I thought about just buying the Milanese loop, but I was like, that makes no sense. It's $100 extra when you buy it with the watch. It's $200 on its own. So it makes no sense to buy just the Milanese loop. So I'll just wait for the Ultra 3 and get the Milanese loop, when they release that probably next year. But I don't know, chat. Let me know if
People
you all
are saying Griffin's volume is too low.
Oh, it sounds fine to me. Oh man, before we wrap up here, I am holding in my hands, the AirPods Series 3 and the AirPods Series 4. Now, so I just unboxed these today, and one of the things I immediately was surprised by is how much smaller the AirPods 4 case is, and it has a speaker in the bottom that you probably can't see. Oh, there you go. And it's got USB-C, so you don't need more than one cable when you're traveling anymore. And the other thing that I immediately noticed is, and I'll open the tops of these here. So in my left hand, I'm holding the Series 4, and in my right, I'm holding the Series 3. And I think what you'll notice, and I'll describe this for those of you who are listening, is like the Series 4, which are right here, they're far more flat on the top and angular. You see how angular they are? I haven't tried these in my ears yet, but I'm a little worried because like the Series 3, they're much more rounded, and I feel like they probably more naturally fit your ear canal. And the Series 4 are like very flat and sharp looking where they go into your ear. And I wonder if they did this to like try to plug your ear better so that the active noise cancellation works better. I don't know. I haven't tried the Series 4 yet. I'm going on a 3.5-hour drive with my kids in my minivan. And I've been saving these to use for the first time on that trip because whenever we go, they always listen to music and podcasts and all this stuff, and it's like just broadcast in the car. And I can never listen to anything because we got to keep the kids entertained, right? And so I'm looking forward to trying the AirPods 4 out on the trip, and I will report back next week how well the active noise cancellation works. I'm also a little nervous. These aren't going to fit my ears as well as the Series 3.
You haven't even put them in your ear
I haven't
yet?
even put them in.
Oh,
haven't
man.
even-
Can you at least give us that? Can you put one of them in your ear?
Yeah, I just want to know if it
Should we do it right now?
fits. Yeah,
Yeah,
do it
right
live.
now? Okay, all right. Let me try. So let's see. Oh, they're kind of they're kind of hard to get out.
All AirPods are hard to get out when you first get them. You know, it's like
No.
I don't know if
I
the
learned
magic's
with the
strong.
3s, all you have to do is press them and they pop
Yeah,
right
but-
out. Oh,
I'm just saying, like you'll learn the way that you do it, right? Like the first time you do it, it's kind of awkward.
okay, that is
But then-
interesting. So these ones you have to like grab them on the left or right hand side and just pull them up. Okay. Well, the shape are similar. So, ready? Should I put one on?
Yeah.
Ah!
The blood. Oh my God,
It's
the
squirting
blood.
everywhere.
They are sharp.
Interesting. Okay, let me. They don't really feel that much difference. Well, maybe they do. Oh no. Maybe you just got to find the right angle. Okay, let me take this one out. My immediate first impression is, oh, they are a little bit less comfortable.
Oh, geez.
But I don't know. I mean, it could just be. Let's see here.
what if you try?
Oh
What if you try
man,
'em with
they are less comfortable.
What if
They're
you try with
comfortable.
the thing pointing up, Giuliani style?
Well, one has to be pointed up, and the other one has to be pointed down, right? So
I thought these were both up.
were they? You might be right about that. So I'll hold these out for those of you watching, so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. So on the left, we have the 3. This is probably not going to work.
Can't see nothing.
Yeah. And
Oh,
on the
there we
right,
go.
We have the 4, and you can kind of see how the floor. I'm trying to show this to you, is like flat and sharp, and the 3 is like rounded. So I'll only put the 3 back in. Oh, the 3 feels like a dream. I barely feel it in there. It's too early to tell. I'll use it on this trip. Maybe I'll get used to the 4s more. But it does, just from looking at them, seem like the 3s would be more comfortable just because they are so rounded and the inside of your ear doesn't have any right angles or 45-degree angles, right? At least mine
I've never
doesn't.
actually looked inside my ear.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and assume. So it does kind of feel like, ooh, is this the 4? Oh, this is the 4. Putting them back in the wrong cases. So
Oh,
I'll let y'all
great.
know how they look and feel. Neville Plus made a mom joke. I'm not going to read that on the air. Oh, I assume that was a mom. I guess it was just a Michael Scott joke. All right. I think that's it. That's all the CultCast we have for you guys this week. Stay tuned because next week we'll be back and I will give you my full breakdown of the AirPods 4, which was the product I was probably most excited about from the Apple keynote event. And I'll let you know just how well the active noise cancellation works in a car full of screaming, totally insane children. Let's see here. I completely forgot where we were in the exit.
The discussion continues on the Cult Club.
Oh, thank you. And the discussion will continue in the Cult Club. I need to go ahead and install that on my new phone because all my apps are gone. So I will eventually be back in the Cult Club, but I have to go ahead and install that there. And you can support us by joining the Cult Club at support.thecultcast.com, support.thecultcast.com. This has been the CultCast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. Week long? Week. What did I say? Week dong? I'm not sure what I said.
Weak dong. What?
Wait, what did you just say? Now Lewis is listening. We need to wrap it up there. I want to thank everyone for listening and for hanging out live, and we will see you guys next time. Lewis, I'm not sure what would motivate you to utter such a phrase, but... Oh no, now mine says hello, Lewis.
Yay!
Oh no. Just tell me the update's complete.
Oh, it didn't tell you to turn that on, huh?
No. Oh wait. There you go.
Can't see it. Oh yeah, stolen device.
There you go. I'll turn it on. All right. Hope you all have a good weekend. Oh, it's asking me to turn Siri on too. I'm not even sure if I should. What's the
Turn it
point?
off.
All right, everyone. I'm hurtling towards the end stream button as we speak. Have a great weekend.